Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwichuk, and I'm here to talk to you about the importance of work and practice in implementing REBT. REBT is a psychoeducational approach to emotional well being, and it can be learned through didactic lectures, videotaped presentations, observation of public demonstrations of others learning REBT, books, and other educational means. However, at some point, you're going to have to take this intellectual insight and implement it, which is what I think of as the rubber meeting the road in REBT. And I was thinking about how children learn to read. Children have difficulty learning to read. They come into the world predisposed to learn to read, but then we have to instruct them in how to read. Then they have to practice reading. And by working and practicing reading and challenging themselves, they become more proficient readers. In fact, during the summer, it's not uncommon for high schools, at least in the United States, to require children to read a few novels in order to prevent backsliding. Well, this is a great analogy for learning REBT. Like reading, you have to learn some of the core principles. So in reading, it's phonics, and in REBT, it's the core principles. That's why I'm going to give a lecture on March the 3rd, Sunday at 9 a.m. in New York, and teach people some of the big ideas of REBT, talk about them so they have an intellectual understanding. Of course, you can also learn this through the videotape presentations on my website and the demonstrations I do on Saturdays. But if you're going to see real benefit from REBT, you're going to have to work and practice at using it. You're going to need to call to mind the ABC framework when you're upset, and then sit down and think about identifying the rigid and extreme attitudes that you may be holding to create self-defeating emotional and behavioral reactions. If you do this, at first it will be hard, like a person learning to read. In fact, just as some children have a greater difficulty learning to read than others, some of you may very well have a difficult time learning to implement REBT. However, like the child who sticks with the process of learning to read and works at it, if you stick at the process of learning to use REBT and attempting to use it and attempting to identify your rigid and extreme attitudes, sooner or later, you too will implement it with greater skill and see the benefit of REBT. So I encourage you to think about this analogy I'm drawing between learning to read and learning REBT. I would encourage you to attend my lecture on March the 3rd, Sunday, March the 3rd at 9 a.m., so you can get a good basic understanding of the principles and strategies of REBT. Learning and watching the demonstrations on Saturday also is a good idea. The more demonstrations you watch, the sooner you will see it applied to a variety of problems, and then you will spot opportunities in your life to use REBT. But the most important step is for you to actually call to mind the ABC model at the tempting moment when you are upset or you are engaged in self-defeating behavior, and then use it to establish a healthy attitude leading to more self-helping behavior. I would also like to encourage you to attend regularly on Saturdays these demonstrations, and you could do so. They're held at 9 a.m. in New York here. You could write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com to get the link. They're held at 9 a.m. in New York, 2 p.m. in the UK, 3 p.m. in Paris, 4 p.m. in Bucharest, 6:30 in New Delhi, and 11 p.m. in Tokyo. Regular attendance will help you understand the different ways REBT can be applied to a variety of problems. But then at the end of the day, you have to work and practice at using REBT at the tempting moment. Do so, and you will see how it can help you have self helping reactions to some of the greatest adversities of life.